Broadcasting from the Blanchistan Centre. This is Phoenix FM.
The internet is a communications tool used the world over where people can come together to bitch about movies and share pornography with one another.
According to the Nerd Index, you should be upside down in a junior high toilet around the clock.
This is Sparta!
All your bases are belong to us.
It's a trap 9000!
Stop collecting all of us. Leave Benny alone!
Leroy Dragon!
Objection!
The balls are inert.
Time to Vicinity Sedan.
And now it begins.
Alright guys, and we're live here on Twitch of the Nerd to Know Media, and it's our first show of 2020. My name is Darragh O'Connor, and Bryn, welcome back to the show.
It's good to be back. How are we, guys?
And we're also joined by Keane. What's up, Keane?
I'm great, thanks. How are you?
Good, good. Hopefully this is working. I'm quite concerned. But even if it's not, we do have it up on the podcast as well. But we're not alone. We're joined by a very special guest. So do the honors there, Keane, and tell us who we have with us today.
Well, we have the new member of our team, which we announced on our social media. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, this is Venus DeVilo from Straight Outta Canto, joining forces with Nerd to Know.
Yes. We've got this
right
wonderful new, like, kind of, what would you call it when, like, two creative forces join up? A collaboration?
Yeah.
Empire?
Yeah, I don't know, something suitably nerdy anyway, definitely.
What is it in Pokemon in the DS games when two trainers battle together? Like,
That's
against...
maybe it'd be like Team Aqua and Team Magma, like, joining together or something like.
I knew you'd have a term for it. That's excellent.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with a Yu-Gi-Oh reference on this. You know, it's like, you know, when you had the shadow game duels and you had to like duel together.
Oh yeah, there you
Like,
go.
That's
Bryn,
kind of
you got a nerdy like team up reference?
Yeah, I was going to go for Dragon Ball Z Abridged, or Dragon Ball Z, where it's the two characters go fusion.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. Okay, well then before we get into the meat of it, did everyone have a good Christmas?
Yeah, it was lovely.
Yeah, a really nice Christmas. Too much food. So,
Yes, good.
No such thing as too much food.
yeah.
Not at Christmas anyway.
I don't know. There hits a point where you're like, I can't really look at any more, you know, turkey and ham and stuff, and you're like, man, but you know, I will have some of that custard. So
Yeah.
you're just kind of like, it is one of those times where you're just like, yeah, I ate way too much. But sure, look, everyone ate way too much at Christmas. That was kind of like the true meaning of Christmas, right?
Oh yeah. It's not a man, it's a remorseless biscuit-eating machine.
No, sir, not the serve tray.
That's a little more. Just one more. Oh no, a second tray.
But,
Do you have that where it's like you got through a tin of Christmas biscuits and you don't realize there's like a second level?
Oh, that's beautiful. Like, that's just like boss level unlocked. You're like, bring it on.
Yeah.
Well, that's what it is. It's like one of those, because like, full disclosure, the last 3 or 4 nights I've been up all night with Prim because she's down with a bit of a dose. So I went through some of the boxes of biscuits that I got for gratifyingly for the parents of the kids I teach. And I finished a box of Foxes and I was like really proud of myself. And there was this whole other tray underneath it. It's like in a video game when you think you've beaten them and they've like a second and a third form.
Reboot.
Well, it's like when like any anime game in general, it's just like, aha, like Bayonetta. That's what Bayonetta basically is. You're like, I beat you. No, you didn't.
Speaking of which, did you both see the cosplayer at JCon dressed as Bayonetta? She was like the head ghost. I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but she was fantastic. Like,
No,
I know it's a bit of a tangent, but I've got to send you a photo.
Wait,
like,
no, I lie, I did, but I was too busy running into our panel after writing it to focus on it. And I was like, oh man, that's really cool, but I'm like, oh no, I need to get this set up. Because when we were there, remember, we had to like pull the HDMI out of the wall, and all that kind of stuff. No, I think we were the only ones who were using the computer. It's just like, okay, I guess we're gonna do this.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was fun times. Fun times. But it's not really a tangent. It kind of links in quite well because before we came on the air, we got news. Well, actually, Venus and ourselves got news. So, you want to share that, King?
Yeah, just gotten it. We will be appearing at Shuricon this February. Our specific dates and times aren't confirmed yet, but we'll be going probably with a Star Wars themed event, and we'll be plugging that as soon as we can. We are very excited because we had them a few weeks ago. They were lovely, and certainly I'm really looking forward to working with them. Guys, are you excited to be talking about Star Wars in public with like human people?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to making people feel as sad about Star Wars as I currently do.
I don't know.
Might make me feel better. At least I'm gonna look at it as counselling, really.
We'll bring a doll. Where did Disney touch it?
Go on the baby Yoda. And I believe, Venus, you also have some news to tell as well?
I do as well. It's a double whammy. Straight out of Canto, my panel, for everything nerd, nostalgia, and pure nonsense and more. Primarily about Pokemon, but kind of branching out a bit. We also got, I say we, it's just me, it's the royal we, it's fine. We also got accepted for Shuricon, which I'm delighted about. It's actually a strange panel. Usually I do horror and Pokemon or some variation of that. It's actually, it's not going to be as dry as it sounds in the title. It's going to be the evolution of women in Pokemon. It's actually, it's a weird panel. It's like, it's because you know, the whole kind of sexism in anime thing, or maybe there isn't, or maybe there is, or just the whole kind of Western perception of kind of Japanese norms and how things in kind of Japanese anime and manga and video games and stuff, that's just what they do there in Japan. But in the West, we're like, and how, you know, just Pokemon isn't actually the worst thing out there, and they're surprisingly varied in things that they do. But then also there's some really weird stuff as well in there, you know, just to
To be fair, if it wasn't Japanese and didn't have weirdness in it, it wouldn't be Japanese, right?
No, not at all.
It's like half the appeal. It was weird. It's only like as an adult you sit back and you're like, because I think our generation were the last kind of ones to have that kind of weird Japanese bleed over without actually knowing that it was Japanese. You know,
yeah.
Like when you think back, like with Power Rangers in particular, Power Rangers is the nexus point for me anyway, where it's like, right, awesome heavy metal, cool martial arts,
terrible acting.
No, weird Japanese stuff, right? But you didn't know that was weird Japanese stuff. You're just like, everything about that's kind of a little bit weird.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, that's why the acting's so bad, because it's weird Japanese stuff. And then you realize it's just a masterwork of editing. Like, whoever came up with that is a genius. It's like, hey guys, this show is like 15 years old. Let's shoot like 10 minutes of footage, like for every month, and we can make millions. And must have like, that's Saban, you devious man. But yeah. But okay, right. So Shuricon, I haven't done it before. I have never been there before. Have you guys been there before? Have you guys done it before?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first Shuricon year that they did this Pokemon Gym Leader Challenge, and I was one of the Elite Four. It was like for the video game.
Ooh,
super cool.
I could see you rocking that. What was your Pokemon type, or was it like
the Dragon Gym Leader? So people would come up to me during the day and battle me, and I kick their arse like every time, which was really satisfying because it was a bunch of like young kids, age like 12 to 22, and he was like 27-year-old, just like unabashedly like destroying them. And then there was this like general league later on, and long story short, I am the Shuricon Pokemon League champion of 2017.
Holy cow.
I can just imagine you like screaming in the faces of these 10-year-olds, like, owned, forget you.
Oh yes, they did the screaming.
You have to.
I saw a few Nintendo 3DSs slam down on the table that day, my friend. I can tell you definitely.
You have to.
That's a 2DS. Get out of here.
There's nothing wrong with the 2DS. 2DS is
I use a 2DS because then you can play the old games on it as well, for maximum weebage,
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, look, here's the thing. If for academic purposes, theoretically, if you had a 3DS or a 2DS, you could theoretically, for academic purposes, just jailbreak it, and theoretically, for academic purposes, run any game you want off it. Theoretically, of course.
Theoretically.
For academic purposes.
Yeah.
For science.
For science.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's weird. Like I have a 2DS and a 3DS, but I'm like, I kind of prefer the 3DS. 2DS just feels kind of weird. It's like a weird tablet. I'm like, this is kind of strange, but sure, it is what it is. So that's going to be on the 15th and 16th of February in TU Dublin on Anger Street. So I don't know. I don't even know where that kind of is.
That's on Kevin Street, like that's.
Yeah. Isn't that the DIT campus?
Yep, it is.
Oh, I know the way then. It's fine.
Yeah.
Just look for the guy dressed as IG-88 and follow him down Kevin Street.
Fair. Okay, cool. Yeah, so we haven't got a date yet, but more than likely will be on the Sunday, lads, because I'm in Lisbon on the 15th. So, yeah, we'll try. If not, I'll be there. I'll Skype in.
Big, intimidating. Asian course.
But yeah, so we'll have more details as things are going on. But this week, guys, we're going to obviously want to have like a crossover, because Lisa, you're on the show, and so you basically said you wanted to do your own podcast, and we had you on. So what is your show going to be about, and what can people expect, or have you got it kind of figured out yet?
It's going to kind of be a bit like the way I'm going to approach the podcast the way I approach Straight Outta Canto, the blog, which is on WordPress, Straight Outta Canto, and it's basically kind of how best to kind of not make it sound really, really sad. Like there's just this sad nerd.
Please, you're in good company.
Sitting in their mother's kitchen ranting about what Pokemon should have done or shouldn't have done and why hentai is totally fine. It's going to be about everything kind of like, because I'm a pure 90s child, so it's going to be literally everything kind of from the weird kind of dark twisted side of the 90s and Pokemon, but then branching out into anime, and I'm absolute like unhealthily obsessed with J-horror, K-horror, thigh horror, everything. So it will be kind of trying to, like, it's hard to say things about things because everything's been said about everything, so I'll be trying to find kind of new ways or new angles, from my perception about things, which is mainly what Pokemon should be doing and why hentai is totally fine. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did not think we were going to
Japanese stuff.
Did not think we were going to be. I didn't think I'd ever hear that sentence, but okay.
Yeah. What a declaration to go out at 5 o'clock on the radio.
Right.
I am totally joking. No, it's just gonna be mostly probably listicle style things about Pokemon and touching on some horror from a literary point of view.
And are you planning to do it weekly, or what can people expect?
That remains to be seen. Depends what the people want.
Cool. Okay. Well, from our point of view, if anyone's listening to this and they want to check it out, it's going to be on our feed. We're going to have a section on nerdtoknowmedia.com for Straight Outta Canto and everything you're doing there. Yeah, it'll be very, very easy to get if you're already listening to us on the Facebook, Twitter, all that kind of stuff feed. So yeah, we will have it there. But this week, I kind of wanted to run through like a year in review. So 4 or 5 things, depending on how long we go. Of like the best and the worst. So like, we'll go round table, and anyone in the chat that wants to join in, we can address that if and when it happens. But we'll have like 4 or 5 each, and then we'll go the hour, and then after that we'll see where we are. So does anyone want to start with a highlight of the year?
I got one.
Go for it.
Endgame.
Oh, very good. I
Yeah.
watched Endgame recently over Christmas. Actually, I forgot how good it was.
Yeah, it's it. I mean that film is just like a nice kind of bookend to the whole MCU that we've had so far, and you know, I mean, I remember back in 2008 when Iron Man came out, and people were just surprised it was good. You know, and it just shows you how far that those films have come from that point where, like, you know, if you were a comic book fan and you're going into the cinema to see a comic book movie, chances are it wasn't going to be very good. You know, I mean, up to that point, I mean, the only like up to that point, we'd just seen like X-Men 3 be really, really bad. We'd seen Batman Begins, which people were surprised of because Batman and Robin was the only thing in public consciousness to that point with Batman, like most recent thing in public consciousness. And then we had like there was like the the stuff like the Spider-Man 3 and like the Fantastic Four film. So people just weren't really excited to see comic book movies at that point. So when it came out, it was like, I mean, I remember people saying at the time that it was the best comic book movie they'd seen.
Well, that was in the same summer as The Dark Knight. Which...
yeah, The Dark Knight came out a month later, and that quickly changed. But, like, I mean, you look at that now to like how many movies are up to that point? Like over 20. It just, I think for the series to have such a landmark and to have kind of hit every single goal that is possible to be hit by something of this size. Like, people didn't even think the Avengers could turn out good in the end, and it did. And this was the fourth film in that run. And it's I think it's an incredible achievement for them to have done that. And I'm kind of happy for it to kind of go on the wayside from here on out, but
it's not gonna.
But I'm like, if the trend ends in the next ends this year, next year, the year after, I'd be totally happy with it, because this run up of 11 years worth of films that all kind of come into this giant amorphous blob together is kind of great. And if tastes change and we move on to other things, awesome. If they don't, it's still great. It's still comic book films.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like, I saw Endgame late because it came out on the day that Primrose was born. And I just had to stay off Facebook to avoid spoilers and all that kind of stuff. I just didn't talk to my little brother. And yeah, actually, watching it was like very, very cathartic. Like, it was me and Stevie had to take it in shifts. I saw it at night and she saw it the next morning. Like, but yeah, it feels like every single in the 21 odd movies pays off, and it is long, but it doesn't feel too indulgent or gluttonous. And even if, God forbid, like, Marvel doesn't do another hit like it again, it's definitely like a landmark, and it doesn't feel like too much of a victory lap, which I was surprised by. I thought it was very nicely balanced,
Yeah, I think at the same time, it's one because I feel I was saying this to people who hadn't seen any of the Marvel films, where they were saying like, well, could I watch this movie and like understand what's going on? And I said, I think it does a decent enough job of making you understand what's happened up to this point for you to get a feel for everything. But you're going to lose the impact for just about every major beat that there is.
Yeah.
Like outside of like the general arcs that there are in that film, like stuff like Falcon saying "on your left," like
yeah.
And I mean, there's a plethora of other bits like that just they would fall pretty flat by comparison if you hadn't seen them. And even like Peter getting to hug Tony, so another nice little moment, but that's going to just kind of not really have an impact for you if you hadn't seen Homecoming. And like I think there's like so many of those little touches that just really push it over the top if you've seen the 20 odd films, because they all kind of got little bits here and there, some more than others. Like they successfully made me want to watch one of the weakest films in the run in Thor: The Dark World again, which I think that's a testament to how well presented it is.
I think the secret behind it was there was enough there for general audiences without losing the core fans. So what I mean by that is like it was a good movie in and of itself, but if you were a fan, there was enough there to award the payback. The payoff. It was like the complete opposite of Star Wars. Where like everything felt earned.
Okay, who had about 20 minutes before Star Wars came up?
Oh man, I really thought that we were going to make it to 30.
Before we go down that sinkhole, Venus, did you see Avengers Endgame?
No, I won't lie. I have never seen anything from the MCU.
That is more impressive than having not seen Star Wars, I must say.
I've seen a few bits and pieces, but my little brother's really getting into it. But it's just one of those things where I'm not opposed to it. I'm interested in it, but it feels like because it has just ended, like, that whole kind of thing has been tied up now at Endgame. And just there is 21 movies, and then there's all the kind of spin-offs, and then the different things, and they all link. It feels a bit like, where would I start? How would I start? It's like, if someone's like, oh, you have to watch this anime, man, like, and there's like 3,000 episodes, and you're like, where do I even begin? Yeah. So it seems cool, but I just wouldn't know where to start.
Answer me this though: did you get into Mobile Suit Gundam, the anime?
No.
Okay, you're fine. Because if you had said yeah, I would have been like, listen. If you're able to get into that, like, and all this crazy series, you would have been fine. Fair enough.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, what One Piece is like 1,000 episodes at this point or something like that.
Yeah. Like Mobile Suit Gundam, it's like, there's way too many. Like, it's a lot easier to like jump into the MCU because it has a beginning, middle, and end than Mobile Suit. You're like, it's also different and it's also good. So, but I can see not being. Missing them.
They have a short attention span, so anything that kind of doesn't have that kind of instant gratification of maybe at most being a trilogy, I'm kind of like, oh god, Jesus, 20 plus movies, that's
Well, see, what I would say is, because myself and Bryn worked with somebody who was very similar to that, and we said start with Iron Man and work back.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what someone has said to me before, actually.
Because like Iron Man is like the heart of the series, and to be honest with you, I'm kind of done in a lot of sense because Iron Man's gone.
Right.
So I would say the main thing to do
Spoiler.
is... Oh, yeah. Spoiler. Sorry. But yeah, like a lot of the main cast left, from one way or another. But yeah, I would say start with the Iron Man movies and work back because that's the heart and soul of the team.
Another way to do it is like kind of go through the release schedule of when the films came out, because at least then at least then you're kind of watching them as they arrived out. So all the kind of like little nods and like preempts for future films, at least you will be kind of like seeing them as they were unfolding, rather than kind of going, right, so I'm gonna watch Iron Man 2 and go watch Iron Man 1, Iron Man 2, Iron Man 3, and then you're going to say, right, so what the hell happened in between Iron Man 2 and 3 that Tony's so traumatized?
Yeah. Having said that, though, I feel like you could just watch Guardians of the Galaxy or Doctor Strange and just get it.
Be fine, yeah.
And like, you wouldn't, apart from 1 or 2, you wouldn't like say, oh, I'm missing 16 movies worth of this. Like, they're pretty good for just having them be standalones. Like,
yeah, like I think the misconception is, oh my god, there's so many movies, right? And I would say, oh my god, there's so many movies for the weak ones, like your Black Panthers, your Captain Marvels, all that kind of stuff, right?
Oh, we're gonna have fighting words over Black Panther. I love that one.
Man, no, terrible, terrible.
Man, no, excellent.
I'm gonna agree on the bad one on that one, because I used to work in Golden Discs, and whenever there was a new release, you'd have to play it for about a month to keep your voters happy. So I saw Black Panther about 9 times every day.
Yeah.
6 weeks on the telly behind the till. It was awful. And sometimes, it's good. We had Star Wars up there for ages, and that actually it didn't look awful. I had no idea what was going on, but had I did, it looked like I would have enjoyed it. But just the Black Panther one, I'm there like, oh wow, it's got Andy Serkis in it. They're trying to make fetch happen, but it just never happened. And I'm like, this is just really bad.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. It's like it's everything that Thor should have been, and everything was promised. Everything Thor 2 should have been, but promised not to be. You know, and I was just sitting there going, "Yeah, man, like it's okay, but it's kind of lame." I like Killmonger.
How can you like Thor: The Dark World and not like Black Panther? I remember you defending that in one of the other episodes.
Let's put it this way, and we won't get too much into it. Thor: The Dark World didn't offend me.
Why
like
are we talking
Thor
about films
one
that
did.
didn't come out last year?
So just saying, no, just getting into it. By the way, this is in past shows. So go back. Don't get me trapped in a rabbit hole talking about Star Wars, Thor: The Dark World, or Thailand.
To listeners at home, you're going to have to go back and listen to the last 20 episodes to get the context for this. This is our Endgame.
This is our game, exactly. So, right. So moving on out of that. Thank you, Kane. Thank you, Brett. So, okay, let's start with you, Kane. Highlight of the year.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of hard to top Endgame, isn't it? It's snuck under the radar, but I think this is going to sound weird. The BBC has done a lot of really good stuff, like in the month of December. Like they did a great War of the Worlds, did a great Golden Compass. They're doing a great Dracula. They did a great Christmas Carol. Like there's been a lot of quality. I'd say TV in general, actually, because the Witcher and the Mandalorian were great too. Like there's been a lot of quality TV this year. Would you not agree?
Oh yeah, I'd say so. Like I haven't got into The Witcher yet, but my parents love it, so I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah, The Witcher's. I haven't played the games, but I've watched the first 2 episodes of The Witcher, and it very much feels like a longer Mandalorian set in a fantasy settings. Every episode seems to be constructed around some sort of fetch quest. So, I mean, if you like The Mandalorian, it's more of the same, except with a grumpy Superman with a wig.
To be fair, it's not a bad wig. Like when the actual shots that I saw, the production shots made it look far worse than it actually was.
No, I heard people complaining about the eyes, but when I watched it, I thought it looked perfect. Like
I played the second game briefly up for the Assassin's Creed Easter egg.
Yeah.
And then I never played any of the other ones, so I'm like, okay, it looks fine. But you know, the TV's been pretty good this year. The Mandalorian's been great.
Star Trek Discovery as well. The season's very good this year. I know you don't watch Star Trek, but
The Expanse is really good. The Boys.
Yeah, The Boys is
super
great.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Venus? You got any thoughts on TV this year?
I'm not really much of a TV person, but a film that really kind of stuck out for me this year, other than Detective Pikachu, which was just absolute gold, was actually Joker.
Oh, you took my one. Thanks.
Yeah,
you took my one. That's a good call.
Oh, sorry, no, you can have it back. I can talk about Detective Pikachu. That's fine.
No. Go for it. Both good choices. The Joker and Detective Pikachu for totally different reasons. Or the same
I was gonna say that's quite a crossover right there.
It could be. Although to be fair, I'd love to see like a sequel to the Joker where it's just Pikachu shows up.
He can solve the crime of like who killed those guys on the subway. Imagine that.
I'd watch that.
That's it there.
And maybe who killed the Waynes and all that kind of stuff. It's a Batman origin as well.
And the Joker
Batman origin
related
story
to
featuring
Thomas
Detective Pikachu. As long as Ryan Reynolds is still Detective Pikachu, no, that's.
And it's like an alternate universe, so Batman, instead of being Batman, has these like yellow Pikachu ears.
That'd be awesome. That would be super
Except instead of the Joker, it's just Jesse and James.
The Joker is still dancing, but he's got a Pikachu on his shoulder.
Yeah, on his shoulder.
So strange. I think Detective Pikachu, I think, just from a Pokemon nerd point of view, was a particular highlight. I just think it surprised everybody, and I think the fact that they had Ryan Reynolds in it, like, was absolutely majestic, because I actually saw Deadpool after I saw Detective Pikachu, and it was amazing because it was like Ryan Reynolds is just being Ryan Reynolds. Like, this is fantastic, and it's basically like Pikapool. Rather than
see that's like the glory of Ryan Reynolds as an actor. Like some say, oh, he plays the same part over and over again. It's like, no, he doesn't play the same part over and over again. He plays himself over and over again, which is Van Wilder. He's Van Wilder all the time. So
yeah, he was Van Wilder in Blade Trinity as well. Like, and he saved that film.
But like, that's what everybody wants him to be. So I'm like, he's perfect. Deadpool, perfect casting as Detective Pikachu. You know, there's nobody else. By the way, I was just on YouTube trending there looking, you know, for clips during the stream, and Jimmy Kimmel's mean tweets came up. I don't know if I've ever mentioned this before, but you know, if anyone watches Jimmy, I don't normally, but I was made aware a couple of years ago that one of my tweets was on mean tweets.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, really, yeah. And I didn't even notice until someone like messaged me, going, "Hey, you know you're on Jimmy Kimmel." I'm like, "Was I?" And it's got to do with that absolute doucher, John Green. It was one of the tweets to him, and I was just like, "Yeah, I'm happy." I don't know. No offense to anyone who likes John Green, but
Go on.
I met him.
Can we hear the tweet? Is it safe for work, whatever the term is?
I can't find it here, but I think I recall what it is. So basically, me and my girlfriend at the time, we went to go meet him when what was the? By the way, are you guys fans of John Green? I feel like
I have no idea who he is.
Okay, good. I
You
feel like
work at a bookshop. He's the looking for Alaska, like what's the big famous one he did?
You're mad.
Fault in Our Stars guy.
Yes, yeah, that guy. Yeah. Girl at work really hates him.
Oh yeah, good. Yeah, I hate him too.
Okay, I'm totally up to speed. Right, go ahead.
And the reason why, because his books are whatever, and I'm like, okay, cool, but people are having a good time and all kind of stuff. But then when I met him, I was like, man, this guy is such a douche. And the worst thing about it was like he wouldn't, loads of people came over and he wouldn't shake anyone's hands, and he wouldn't, I was just like, man, these people are the reason you're here. You're a millionaire because of these people. They're misguided, but still, do something. And no, he didn't. And then
were you wearing corpse paint at the time?
No, I was not. I was just like, yeah, man, whatever. I don't really care. But my girlfriend at the time was like, oh, this is so awesome. And then there was other people crying and stuff, and I'm like, just shake their hand, dude. You're a millionaire because of these people. But anyway, so I was watching YouTube Safari, and his brother popped up, and his brother does like mini docs on things. And I was like, wait, why am I suddenly very annoyed? And then I realized it was him. And I was just put a tweet on. Instantly just upset, and I didn't even know why. And then once I found out it was him, I'm like, oh my God, Mr. Punchface is back. So I was just like, right. And then I popped out a tweet, and the tweet was something like, John Green and his brother are the biggest douches I've ever met, or something like that. So he just has such a punchable face or something. I don't know. I can't remember the actual one. But what I'll do is I'll go through it and I'll pop it up in the description of the show this week, and I'll put it on our Instagram. So yeah. Hey, I hate him so much.
But why? Just because he wouldn't shake your hand, like?
Oh no, I didn't care, man. I was sitting there like on my phone. No, it's just that he is just a doucher, and he wouldn't even take the time to like make his fans feel special, which for me is important, because I'm like, these are the only reason why you're here. If not, you'd be, probably wherever he's from. I think he's from like some arsehole of America, isn't he?
Mm.
So that's where he'd stay, and that's where he should have stayed, because he's a douchebag. Sorry.
I get what you mean though, in principle. Like, is like I go in with the opposite attitude when meeting celebrities. I am pleasantly surprised if they're nice. I still think John Delancey, the guy who plays Q from Star Trek, he was doing a panel, and in the break he came over and sat down next to us and chatted to us unprompted and asked us about Ireland and all that kind of stuff. And I was like
panels and stuff I get, because it's the environment that it is, right? The difference with this was this was something. It was a book launch for that movie, or that was it the one where the kids are dying or something, and it's all sad or something. I don't know.
That's The Fault in Our Stars.
Yeah, it looked like the worst thing ever. Yeah, and it was for that, and I was sitting here going, okay, but these people were like, it was over 100 people, and it was very small. I'm like, these seem really into it, so you could at least do something, It's like, I just don't get that kind of mentality, because they're famous, but they're not like super crazy famous. It's more like niche. It's like when you meet like metal musicians. So, like I remember, you go to a gig and you meet one of the lads in the Jacks or whatever, and they'd be like, oh hey, and you'd be like, oh hey, you're in that band, and you'd be like, hold on, I need to go wash my hands, and they wash your hands and they go sign stuff. And like, that's awesome. I happened with my friends who came back with an armful of merch because he met the guitarist in the Jacks. And I was like, dude, did you wash your hands? He goes, yeah, he just made sure he washed hands down. And then, I think that's the right way to do it, because if you forget who that is, that's when you start becoming arseholey. And it just read me the wrong way. And then when that video popped up, I was like, I need to tweet about this because I am upset. And it ended up on
How would you feel if, I don't know, John Green got to write a Star Wars book or something like that now?
I'd burn it publicly.
Oh my god, that's so dark.
Oh man, I'm just saying. I was in the shower yesterday. And I was thinking, I'm like, well, all the things that they did wrong with Star Wars, and I was in the shower for 20 minutes, and I was like, okay, we're done now. So yeah,
you give up 20 minutes a day just to think about Star Wars. Like,
no, I was in the shower, and that was the problem. I had nothing to distract me, and then Star Wars came on. I'm like, oh, what did they do to you?
It's like that episode of South Park where the one where they're taking the Mickey out of the crystal skull and how bad that is, and it's Cartman and
George Lucas and Spielberg raping Indiana Jones.
Indiana Jones, and they're like, our friend got raped this summer, and it's just like it's just Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull, which, to be fair, wasn't actually a bad movie. It wasn't classic indie, but it was fun.
I see. Actually, not to go on a tangent about something that didn't come out this year, but I was rewatching all the Indiana Jones over Christmas, and I remember people complaining about the aliens, and I was like, aliens were a thing in the 50s, just like the religiosity was a thing in the 30s and 40s. Like, I don't get why people are happy with a knight protecting the cup of elixir life, whatever, is outlandish, but aliens are. Yeah, exactly. That's it. And
no, I think it's the reason why they get upset is because they had indie pegged in a specific time.
Okay.
Punching Nazis or random Indians. Depending which they always seem to miss that point. It's like he was fighting Indians in the second one. Did you not?
Yeah, but that's a good point in and of itself. There was always
it's like I think everybody missed that. It's like he didn't just do that. He did other things.
Yeah.
People before the Crystal Skull hit came out, people were like, the Temple of Doom is the worst Indiana Jones film, and it's because there was no Nazis in it.
Exactly.
I think it's the best one.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Kalima.
It's definitely my favorite climax out of the films.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, it is the most satisfying. The other ones seem to kind of just be very, very flat.
I laugh every time they cut to that footage of the crocodile eating like bits of paper.
Yeah. It's like, I mean, I think that the Last Crusade and the and Raiders of the Lost Ark are like better films overall, but I think that in both of them they don't really end on a very satisfying on as satisfying a note as the Temple of Doom does. Yeah, also, correct. Temple of Doom is just a better title.
It's very kitschy. Yeah,
I like the Last Crusade. Emotionally, that's my favorite one. Just I always loved that as a kid. But yeah, when you're watching, you're like, oh, Temple of Doom was a better flick, and Raiders is just technically the best one. But it is a kind of thing. But I think everybody just kind of forgot that Indy was an archaeologist of general things. It wasn't like he was like, oh, he only does these things. But I think everybody.
No, he wasn't Captain America. Like.
Yeah, exactly. If Captain America went off and started punching Indians, then it'd be kind of weird. Yeah. But it's just like
I think as well though, like it's. I mean, with a bit more time between when I first saw it and watching it like years later, the Crystal Skull is like clearly has a very different idea of what the people who made the film consider like this is what Indiana Jones is.
Yeah, exactly. It's an author approach, right? It's not like it wasn't made by committee. George. The Red Letter Media guys did their review of Mr. Palinka, kind of hit nail head. George had a mad idea.
Yeah.
Steve was like, hey, man, I'm going to make your movie, but I'm going to fix the madness. And we had a pretty good movie out of it, George had his weird little ideas, and we got a weird little movie. But I love it. I think it's great. So, I will offend that to no end. But I don't know.
Yeah, the only thing that loses me at the Crystal Skull is the kind of there's a sudden oversurge of CGI in the big jungle fight, and I was like, I'm getting my prequel flashbacks now.
Yeah, but
George Lucas has reared his head, and I'm starting to lose it.
Yeah, but again, that's what he had to do. He wants to push the limits of storytelling. So
that's fair. Do you know Kathleen Kennedy was in the Temple of Doom?
Why are you doing this to me, Kane?
Okay, I'm just egging you on. She's one of the dancers in the start of Temple of Doom.
They should have taken her heart out. I mean, no, I'm just joking, not really though. No, I actually have a pick that I want to go. I have two picks. It's a split one. The surprise of how good Shazam was.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Shazam. God.
And Godzilla King of the Monsters.
I haven't seen it yet. Is it good?
Yes, it's very good. Venus, you can talk to that. What did you like about Godzilla?
I loved how well, I think it was in some ways it was very weak. In some ways, it just, I felt like they took like about it was overlong. They basically took, like, much like me here trying to get the sentence out. They literally took like about an hour or something of nothing. Just everybody kind of standing around talking about stuff. And then there was all the amazing monster action. But I love Charles Dance. I love Charles Dance in anything he's in. And he was absolutely brilliant as like this ice cold villain in it. And I love how, like, there was this weird kind of, because with the last Godzilla, I'd been making a joke about Ken Watanabe Godzilla fusion. And then, spoiler alert, we actually got it in Godzilla King of the Monsters. And I'm like, this is amazing. I love how, like, it's this radioactive giant dinosaur, but Ken Watanabe's like, no, this is just a big doggo. Like, I'm just gonna. It was in some ways it was a truly appalling movie, but I thought it was absolutely glorious as a modern B movie. I loved it. I brought my little brother. We had popcorn and we just laughed our heads off. It was fantastic, and the monster action, while it was kind of bizarre and kind of a bit, plot wise, it's one of those movies where you're not going to focus on the plot. You're just going to watch the big monsters fighting, because it was brilliant. It was really, really good. A really nice kind of hammy, kind of very expensive, big budget CGI B movie.
Listen, it was just like the Japanese ones.
Yeah.
Okay. And what I mean is they are always really hammy and kind of dumb, but super fun at the same time. It's just instead of some lad in a suit, it was computers doing it. And I thought it was great. It was everything I wanted. I sat there and I was like, this is the best thing I've seen all year. And it remained that up until I didn't realize it was going to be such a good year. But I had a great time. I thought it was fantastic. Now,
Mothra as well was majestic.
Oh,
Shout
man.
out to Mothra.
I love Mothra. She's my fave. So
yeah.
Actually was there. I was like, yay, this movie already is brilliant. Again, everything everything Star Wars should have been. They should have just put Godzilla in it. Why not? Sorry.
They did in the Clone Wars.
They did in the Clone Wars, but the Clone Wars is good because Dave Filoni directed it, and we love Dave Filoni. So sorry. Okay, I'll go back. Right.
Well, actually, no. Before we get off that, to prepare to see the King of the Monsters, in the last 2 weeks I saw the original Godzilla and I rewatched Kong Skull Island. Would you consider the sequel to be superior to the original Godzilla, as in the 2013 or whatever it is? Yeah.
Oh God, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
100%. Like, I liked everything, in the first Godzilla as a setup, but it was very, very slow. Like, this was just a straight on monsters are fighting. This is cool. It's very much just you like if you like gaijus, you're gonna love this, and that's what it was. It was just like watching. Like, I love the Godzilla movies as a whole, but my favorites are always like the silly ones that where they fight. Like, I love, my personal favorite is Godzilla versus Shin Godzilla, which is the name in Japan for
the bad one from the 90s.
Yeah, where he picks him up and throws him through the Sydney Opera House. And then hits him with his breath. It's fantastic.
The Godzilla vs. King Kong one is actually coming out in March, and it has Charles Dance in it, just to let you know.
But is that confirmed? Because I heard it was pushed back.
Oh no! Don't say that. Yeah, my information is really old, though. So okay, don't quote me on it.
It has been pushed back.
No! I was looking forward to that. Why? Why is it not out for 2020?
It's got to do with poor performance apparently of the movie, so they're retooling. I'm not
surprised. God love it.
Yeah, nobody saw it, but everybody should have. So be disappointed if you didn't. Shazam as well was one of those flicks that was fantastic, super fun movie. Yeah. The savior of the.
I got a big Sam Raimi vibe off that one in the best way possible.
Yeah, exactly. It was a Sam Raimi light movie. Yeah. So they're my two picks. Bring back to you.
Right, so we're going for this one's technically a low light, but I haven't seen it yet, but it's definitely going to be a low light for 2019, but I am so excited to see it. Cats.
Oh my god! No, my favorite thing about Cats is the fact that they released it and then had to release DLC to fix it.
Yeah. Oh, man.
They had to upgrade the movie as it was running.
It's just so great. Like these kind of high budget follies don't come around that often. And
was that a deliberate pun? Because Follies is another musical from that time.
It's unintentional.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know this musical called Follies. So.
Oh yeah, it's great.
These kind of overblown big budget films don't come around all that often. In the early 2000s, we had Food Fight, which took 12 years to come out.
Oh yeah,
and it's awful. And in the 90s, we had Waterworld, and now we have Cats, and I cannot wait to see it. It looks so terrible.
I should warn you. My sister went to see it, like having read the book, and she walked out like 20 minutes into it, and she managed to get her money back because she managed to see the unfinished version where you can still see Judi Dench's hands.
Oh my god! But my question on this is why do Cats? Like, who wanted it? Who was like, you know what, guys, we need this? And who sat around and said,
they've been trying to make it since the 80s.
But why? It's not good.
It makes money.
It's you know this. It's from Star Wars. It's thing you know. People go see thing you know with people you know. That's movies now.
Consume product. Be excited for new product.
Taylor Swift, person you know.
Hold on. Leave Tay alone. Wasn't her fault.
I didn't say anything up there. I'm saying she's in it, which is true.
I know, but let's not sully her name now. That's not fair.
And let's let
I think she sullied her own name by being in Cats.
Look, everybody needs money, right? It's just the way it is.
I started getting worried when I heard that the highlight of the film was Jason Derulo.
He's in that.
Yeah. He's the one in the trailer that goes, yeah.
Oh my God, I hope he's a cat that goes, Jason Derulo, meow.
You think this is like
and I'll boo if he doesn't say that.
You think this is a movie 42 situation where the director had a lot of promises from people for a specific project and he just cashed it in for this specific thing?
The director is Tom Hooper. I love The King's Speech and loads of the other things he did. Like his Les Mis was decent. I don't know what happened on this one.
Cocaine.
Like possibly, but actually from having
loads of cocaine.
Loads of cocaine and cats, but it's from knowing the musical somewhat. I get it as a vehicle for a film because the musical is just one person sings a song, then goes away, and they repeat that 20 times, and they're good songs. So I get you could get Daniel Craig or whoever in for a day to sing a song, and then they get to be a headliner. You make it in 2 weeks, Sin City style. I get that, but still, it doesn't have a story, which films tend to need. So that's an obstacle before all the dodgy CG comes in.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, it didn't look like it was something I'd want to see. It didn't look like it'd be good.
It didn't look like something I wanted to see either. And then, the more information that came out about it, the more I went, "Oh man, I can't wait to see it."
But see, I'm excited to see it now. I'm not going to pay money for it.
No, God, no.
No, I'm not going to do that. But what I will do is when it comes out on Netflix or something, or it's thrown onto VOD, I will watch because apparently it's a cosmic horror nightmare. So,
it's gonna be great. I remember seeing a review where it said the worst thing about the best thing about this film is also the worst thing, and that's that Jason Derulo was the highlight.
There you go. I'm being ripped off already. This is great.
It just I can't wait. I can't wait to see it.
I want to just jump in there on the lowlights just because another movie that I really enjoyed that wasn't bad, that was bad but also wasn't. Is Countdown. You guys seen Countdown?
No, what is it?
Countdown is a Final Destination sequel that's not called a Final Destination sequel. Basically, it's an app that kills you. So if you download an app and it's like, hey, you could have 20 hours to live, or you could have 90 years to live, right? And that's basically it. And then, when your time runs out, you die. But it's lame but I really enjoy it. And there's really funny hacker guy in it, and he works in like a phone shop. And this is, I'm a very simple person to please in some ways, but this character was just the best thing ever. He's just like, an absolute, a-hole kind of guy. He's like, yeah, whatever. And then they pay him to like hack the code of the app. And it's in like Latin, and then he starts reading it, and I'm just sitting there going, this is the best thing ever. And then he like he changes it over, and he like defeats the evil app, but then the post scene, everything resets and he dies, and it's great. And I'm like, this movie, man, you knew you had a terrible flick, but you went that extra mile, and just love it. It's great.
I love a bad film that commits.
Oh, this movie knew it was bad, but it went for it and actually kind of added in a few bits and pieces. A movie that didn't do that was Jay and Silent Bob the reboot. Very disappointed. A movie I didn't get to talk about actually on the show because we took our break and stuff. I went to go see it on one of the screenings after watching Knives Out, which is fantastic. I went to go see it in the Lighthouse at like 11 at night, and it's pretty bad. It's really
What's
bad.
wrong with it?
Everything. Like, it's like they took all the good Kevin Smith, shook it all up, and then opened it for a while and left it just hanging, and then came back to it 4 days later. And it's like, oh, okay, this is good to drink now. It's just not good, man. It's just not like it's fine, and some bits are funny, but you're just like, maybe you should like not do this anymore, Kev. Maybe just do your podcast. His daughter's hot though.
It's a shame.
So, that's
what a review.
That's a plus.
Is she even in the movie?
She's like the main character, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's basically the premise is it's a reboot, but they're doing a reboot of the first movie, but with a younger, more diverse cast. So
Okay.
you have like the token black girl, the token Muslim girl, it's female led. And this is all their words, by the way, not mine. This is how they spin it. Jay actually goes in and talks about it and explains how reboots work. Has some cool little funny moments in it. I like seeing Brody back. Cool Ben Affleck cameo. They do a whole play on Comic-Con. But it's just kind of lame.
Oh.
It's just like, this is very lame, and I just kind of felt like, Kev's a bit past it. And then I watched a Star Wars review and I was like, why are you crying? Are you crying because it's bad? Because you should be. That's why I'm crying. I'm even past crying. I'm just angry. And then I got past angry and went to hungry. And then I got past hungry and I was just sat there being upset, and then I couldn't sleep.
And then you went and sat in the shower for 20 minutes.
And now I have 20-minute showers. Yeah, thank you. So there we go. Okay.
Do you want to sit in on our Star Wars panel and either ask very valid questions or pretend to know what's going on?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, yes, I am.
Sorry, I got distracted by a hamster. Yeah, sure.
As you do.
He's licking his balls. What am I meant to do? It's funny.
Fair.
Very fair.
Okay. Who's got something good but bad from the year? Keen?
Well, I suppose it's not very nerdy, but I've literally just an hour ago come back from seeing Little Women, and it's fantastic.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I know it's not kind of high science fiction, but yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. It was directed by Greta. Oh my God, her name escapes me, but she directed Lady Bird. Not Greta Thunberg, but the director of Lady Bird. And as someone who didn't grow up with Little Women, I thought it was amazing. It was a cinema with a load of little kids who also got it, and Emma Watson. Someone who doesn't go for this kind of film, I thought it was fantastic, and it definitely cured the bad mojo I was still having from The Rise of Skywalker. So I loved it to bits.
Wow. So 12 points to Gryffindor then, right?
Well, actually, funnily enough, of the four, maybe you'll kind of know where I'm coming from here, Venus. But of the four characters, that they are in the story. It's Emma Watson's family against the wish of the radical. And I was kind of going, wow, I didn't expect Emma Watson to take that run of in public persona.
Oh, okay.
Like
That's different.
You know what I mean? Like when she played Belle, she was sort of like the uber feminist inventor Belle. Like, do you know what I mean?
Mm-mm. Yeah. I haven't seen Little Women, and I don't intend to, but it's great that you have these thoughts.
Uber feminist Belle. What a sentence that shouldn't be said. Oh, poor Emma Watson. You know, there's another one who should have just taken our money and went away.
I'll say one more thing about it. Actually, like because my TV hasn't read the Harry Potter books, and I was trying to explain Hermione as a character and like what she means to people. And I don't know if people have this with Daniel Radcliffe as well, but there's this slight dissonance when you see them looking the same in other films doing different things.
Yeah,
and it's the same with like Doctor Who actors and that kind of stuff. But it's kind of like immediately you've got that whoa.
No, because David Tennant's a good actor.
No, it's not even to do with whether they're a good actor or not. It's just your relationship with them is an obstacle that you have to overcome.
Oh,
like,
sure. Yeah, I'd understand that.
Yeah.
But like, I think that's a kind of testament to acting as such. Like with David Tennant, you see him in Jessica Jones, and he is a monster.
Oh, he uses the same voice as the Doctor. That makes me really uncomfortable.
Yeah, he does, but he's a monster, and you're like, oh, this is kind of really disturbing.
The kind of Mockney voice.
Yeah. I don't know. What do you think, Bryn?
Yeah, like I remember like people having the same kind of problem with Mark Hamill and other things. When I remember like my aunts and uncles who grew up with the Star Wars films when they came out, going like, "Oh, Mark Hamill and something else. That's just gross." Like
that's just gross.
Like same kind of thing here. I mean, I think when you get so used to seeing certain actors doing certain things, it's like watching the actors from Friends. When you see them in any other film, you're like, where's the rest of you? Like,
to be fair, with a lot of Friends cast, I can let that go, right? But when I was watching Bands of Brothers, I'm like, why is Ross in World War II? You're like, this doesn't make sense. It's like, go back to the coffee shop, Ross.
Bring Chandler the Dropper.
I think so, but it's the whole thing about typecasting, like it's Mark Hamill got around it by being probably one of the voice actors of his generation, but Emma Watson got around it by being annoying, so it's like okay,
can't argue there. It's like have you ever seen the film Imperium?
Yes.
No,
I have.
Basically it's I've seen a fantastic meme. It's basically Harry Potter and the Final Solution. It's basically
literally, yeah.
You're gonna have to give me a tiny bit more context here.
That's the context.
Basically, it was a film made within the first 5 years of Daniel Radcliffe finishing up with the Harry Potter series, and it's basically where he is a very unbelievable undercover cop who becomes undercover as a right-wing white supremacist Nazi with a shaved head, and he joins all these hardcore Nazi rallies and shaking his fist and throwing vodka bottles at African Americans, and also just really, it's just like, go back to Hogwarts, okay? Finish that final year, okay? Don't just leave after you defeat Voldemort, okay? You strayed.
Did he ever shout Mudblood?
He kind of did, because he was there like in this hate rally chanting, and I'm just there like, this is literally what you were fighting against.
Yeah. It was weird at that rally when that big skull appeared in the air with the snake for a tongue.
That's basically Imperium. That's what they did with Imperium, except it was Nazis, not Death Eaters, which I always found weird because Death Eaters are just Nazis. So it literally just felt like this really bad Harry Potter spin-off, which it wasn't, but it was.
We have to reach out to J.K. Rowling now and be like, hey, was Harry a Nazi all along?
If J.K. Rowling heard the last episode we did, she won't respond.
That's okay.
Oh, that reminds me actually of another low light for last year. Crimes of Grindelwald.
Oh. Yikes! What a movie! Yeah. By the way, I didn't know Foo Fight was a thing. I'm gonna watch that later on and let you know.
The feelings. Oh, you're in for such a treat.
I just looked it up. I think I really am. Yeah.
It's but like the Crimes of Grindelwald was like I grew up not really liking Harry Potter. Like I read a couple of books and I got to a point where it's just like there's just no. I just got like whatever way I read it. I just went like there's just no point to reading these.
Right. That happened to me after the second one when I threw it behind the radiator.
But anyway,
so
it's
like, say thank you, Bryn. See, I've been justified for everyone who was sending the hate mail.
Yeah.
Touch.
4 people who did, who were all
exactly.
So I don't really have the affinity for it. But then, like my girlfriend loves Harry Potter, so I've seen the films a good bit. I probably will eventually listen to the audiobooks for them. But we watched Crimes of Grindelwald, and I really enjoyed Fantastic Beasts. I thought that was
that was great crack.
They're good movies, yeah.
And then
good movies.
this one just like once it got to the point where it's like, it's like going like, look, we've got to protect ourselves because there's Nazis, and it's like, hang on a second here.
You could fight them. You're wizards.
But it's like 1, you're wizards. 2, like you're a bunch of people talking about how you have to protect yourself from an impure race, while also saying that impure race is going to destroy the world because of other impure races. What the hell?
It's a film where I took Stevie to see it, and the only film she's had for the Harry Potter thing, she saw Fantastic Beasts 1, and she did not know what was going on, because the film, a bit like Rise of Skywalker, was going into a lot of deep minutiae that was supposed to please fans, and it's been a decade since I've read them. I was lost. I mean, it kind of ties back into our Marvel discussion. I genuinely believe with most of the Marvel movies, you could pick them up and just get it. I felt like watching that one that I had to study for a test or something like that, because I had no idea what was going on with quite a lot of the plot. And there was a 10-minute sequence where the evil brother lays out the exposition on why one family hates the other, and then the sister lays out contradictory exposition about a boat sinking, and then the door behind them just opens when they're finished doing their exposition and they head on. So
it's just like, and then he got to the bit at the end which my girlfriend really didn't like, where it implies that spoiler for people who haven't seen it, the guy, one of the characters they've been trying to the protagonists have been trying to reach, it turns out that he's Dumbledore's brother.
Yes.
And apparently that's a massive lore break, because in nothing that's ever been written before with relation to Dumbledore does it ever mention this.
Well, see, I want to bring this up then, because I was confused in the same way that the actor who plays him was confused, because when they said you're Dumbledore's brother, I was like, oh, you're that brother from the end of Harry Potter 7. So that's why you're able to tell the kids about all that stuff with Grindelwald, because you lived through it. That's a really cool twist. And then someone told me, oh no, he's a third brother.
Yeah.
What's the point of that then? You missed an open goal for yourself as far as the twists go. I mean, did you see it, Venus?
You see, it's like poetry. Everything rhymes.
Yeah, you see, I won't touch the whole Fantastic Beasts series. I saw Fantastic Beasts. See, I'm an absolutely terrifyingly hardcore, die-hard Harry Potter fan. Terrifyingly obsessed. If y'all ever need to do a Harry Potter pub quiz, you want me on your team, because I will single-handedly carry anyone to the championship, which I have done on many occasions.
And Dara are going to get on fine.
Oh, no, listen,
Ebony and Ivory. Yeah, no, I saw Fantastic Beasts and I didn't like it at all. I just thought it deviated away. I know they're trying to do something different. I thought it wasn't Harry Potter. I'm not saying they all have to sit around in England having tea and scones, but there was just something very cold and off about it. It felt too distant from the actual Harry Potter lore, and then when they started bringing in all these extra characters and breaking the kind of tried and trusted tradition and lore and kind of timelines that we had accepted and had been taught for years from the readings, and then just they deviated away too much from it, and I will not touch anything after Fantastic Beasts. I didn't even like it. It's like, but that's not Harry Potter. That's not what you've been saying for the last 20 years. Now, I know there's a lot of I don't know how to feel about J.K. Rowling, because I know she's all like, oh yeah, Hermione was always meant to be black. And it's like, no, she wasn't. If you want to cast a black female actress in the role of Hermione in your play because she's a good actress and embodies Hermione, that's great. Just say it. Don't say
Yeah. But she wants the kind of virtue points as well, like.
Yeah.
No,
so it's just like I just feel like they've changed too much just to be controversial and shocking. And J.K. Rowling says a lot of things that are like, what?
Yeah.
Why are you saying that?
Yeah.
So I think Harry Potter ended with the I have a lot of problems with the movies. I can give you many points and PowerPoint presentations on what's wrong with the movies versus the books, and even what's wrong with the books. But I just think the whole crime.
I'm seeing a joint panel coming up at some point. Then, yeah.
It's not even. No, it's not Harry Potter.
I think you hit the nail on the head there as well with that. We kind of touched on that last week with the whole virtue signaling thing. You know, it's like one thing about having a character X, Y, and Z who just so happens to be whatever it is, but just having them to win points, it just comes off as really cheap and hammy. And nothing sums that up more than the lesbian kiss in Star Wars that they removed, so movie could play in the part in like the Middle East and stuff. It's like
in China, yeah.
Well, not only in China, also in the Middle East as well, and around the world. Even where is it? Singapore as well.
See, I blame the 2017 Mummy for that, because that was a movie that was tailor-made with. Oh, you should. It's awful, but it's a great kind of awful. That was a movie where all the exposition was done in like narration and flashback and all that kind of stuff. And the mummy wasn't an Egyptian mummy. She was like from a different part of the world, and she had like British Knights Templar raised from the dead and all that kind of stuff. And I didn't get it when I saw it. And I think it might have been the Red Letter Media guys explained it, which is where it's the perfect movie to sell abroad, because you could potentially change where the mummy came from just by changing the dub.
Yeah.
And the movie would still be the same. It'd still be an awful movie, but it would still be a movie. Like,
But what I mean to say is, like, if you're going to, it's exactly what happened with J.K. Rowling. It's like, if you're going to have something like that, cool, right? One, make a part of your movie though, like have a character that just so happens to be a lesbian, and another character that just so happens to be a lesbian, and have them part of your. Don't just go, we have lesbians, look how great. You know,
Solo did that as well. They had that story where I don't know, Lando Calrissian was going to be pansexual. Never came up in the movie.
Well, he had sex with his robot, right, or whatever.
Even that was just a throwaway line, though. They weren't wearing engagement rings or anything.
No, what I mean is what they could have done, and this is something that they probably should have done. Finn and Poe being gay.
Yeah, but like
they set that up.
That's what bothered me, because like you try to have the points of like having the kiss in the background, and you introduce two female characters for 10 minutes to be their potential love interests to split up that gay couple. Like it's so insincere, you know.
It's to have the not gays.
Yeah.
Know? It's like oh no they're not, but hey, look at this. It's just it's so, as you said, insincere and ridiculous. You know,
it's my least favorite movie trope. I was actually pleasantly getting back to Marvel. I was pleasantly surprised with Spider-Man: Homecoming, because there's a bit where Aunt May catches Spider-Man and his best friend, and Spider-Man's like undressed because he's just taken off a Spider-Man suit, but it looks a certain way. And you wait for that gay panic moment, and she just doesn't care and goes, put a top on or something. Like, I was like, that's nice, because it doesn't happen often.
But Marvel are going to are looking like they're going to fall into that trap now very soon.
Do you think?
Yeah, well, they've already kind of made a big deal of casting specific types of characters rather than just characters. And you're like,
okay,
just do Moon Knight. He's gay, isn't
they
he?
are.
Yeah, Moon Knight's whatever you want him to be.
Yeah, like Moon Knight's gay. Just make a Moon Knight movie. There you go.
Is he? Because in the comics I have with him, he lives with like a mostly naked woman a lot of the time.
Moon Knight can be anything, like
or even Deadpool. Just go crazy with Deadpool, like, you know.
Oh, now Deadpool's whatever you want him to be.
Yeah, But anyway, that's
He's as omnisexual. Like he literally can be sexually attracted to anything.
exactly.
Moon Knight has like infinite storyline potential. So he's literally like he's only limited by what you consider his psychosis to be.
Yeah, but like you could easily say that one of his personalities is gay or something like that.
Totally.
You know?
That's what I mean. He can be anything. Like absolutely.
So we've gone over our show on Phoenix FM, guys. Thank you for joining us. But do you guys want to keep going for another until 11, or do you guys want to end?
I'll get one more thing in, and then I'll sign off if that's okay. You guys are free to keep going if you like.
All right, we'll do one more big thing, and then we're good to go.
Okay. Good thing and bad thing. Good thing is Marriage Story. Just finished it.
Oh
on
yes,
Netflix. Absolutely amazing.
Super good. Super good.
It's wonderful watching Kylo Ren and Black Widow getting divorced. With Laura Dern from Jurassic Park, Rise of Skywalker. Not Rise of Skywalker. What was it? Last Jedi.
Yeah.
God, the names of those movies are so interchangeable. But anyway, love that. On the bad things, I want to give a quick shout out to 3 Disney remakes in 1 year, with a bracket for Rise of Skywalker, which was also kind of a remake of Return of the Jedi. Did you catch any of them?
So hang on, remind me again. There was the Lion King.
Yeah.
There was
Dumbo and Aladdin.
Yeah. And there's also a Maleficent movie as well, wasn't there?
Yeah, but
there
was
yes, I forgot about that.
I saw that, and it's a very enjoyable movie that's completely pointless and nothing happens, but I had a great time watching it. To be fair, I couldn't tell you what's it about.
Yeah.
I couldn't name any of the characters. I just know I had a good time.
So it's an ultraviolet quality film then.
It's a what?
Ultraviolet. It was this Mila Jovovich film that came out in the.
Oh yes, yeah.
I can't tell you a thing about that film except for how exceptionally hot Mila Jovovich was doing it. Like,
fair.
You could say that about most Mila Jovovich films, though.
Very fair.
Every Mila Jovovich film.
There you go.
Because that film's great.
But yeah, no, I didn't catch the other remakes. Did you, Venus?
No, I'm not a Disney person, so I didn't catch any of them.
See, I am a hardcore Disney person, and the very concept of remaking Disney cartoons is blasphemous.
Yeah.
And pointless.
Well, I mean, it kind of taps into the Indiana Jones thing we were talking about earlier, because they're live action remakes. Fair.
But they're not.
But there's so much there's so much CG that it basically is.
Yeah, it's like, okay, so let's do a live action remake where all the characters are made of computers. It's like, what? Why? It's ridiculous. It's like,
let's remake these films with a technology that's proven to age poorly.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, listen, you can watch Sleeping Beauty from the 30s.
Yeah.
And it's no, it's not from the 50s, or sorry, Snow White from the 30s. And it looks amazing.
Yeah.
Because it's animation that doesn't age, right? But you stick on, same with anime, right? But you stick on even the Star Wars prequels, and the animation is not great, right?
But at least the Star Wars prequels are original. I was watching Beauty and the Beast on Christmas Day, and like, obviously you're watching the stuff you've seen before, and I only actually saw all the Disney classics this year for the first time. I hadn't seen Beauty and the Beast, hadn't seen Aladdin, hadn't seen all of them. So, like, watching the remake, like, all I could see was the stuff I'd seen before, and like the meta stuff they added, like I don't know, Belle being an inventor and all that kind of stuff. And I don't know, I mean, I know remakes are cynical in nature, but it feels so much pandering-y, if that makes sense. It just feels like it's not trying to tell the story, it's trying to make people who already know the story happy.
Yeah, but it's like, it's trying to be woke, because it's like,
yes, that's the word, woke.
Because it's like, oh, you know, like the whole town thinks Belle is crazy because she wants to read. And like,
teaching a girl to read isn't one enough.
Yeah,
it's just so lame and hammy. You know, no one talks like that. You know, no one's ever talked like that in the 400 years or something like that. So
it's like, because at least when there's like little bits of unrealistic things in Disney cartoons, they are fairy tale cartoons. When you see live people doing it, you either go the Les Mis route and make it super dirty and grungy, or you play it up, and they kind of do neither. You know,
it's like, you kind of have to go camp or you have to go grungy.
Yeah,
there's no in between. You know, if you go in between, it just kind of falls flat. And that's one thing that I find a lot. What that happens with a lot of remakes, they go way too safe, and that's at least with Maleficent, and I must say, it didn't. It did its own thing. As I said, nothing happened. Like nothing, and it didn't have any impact because the status quo turned. But it didn't offend anybody. It was just a fun little movie.
Yeah.
But that was it.
Actually, before I get to anything, before I have to go, I have to say Game of Thrones as a low light in the year.
Oh dear.
Oh.
Oh dear.
I'm amazed we made it this far in without
yeah.
it coming up.
I nearly talked about it, but then I was just like, no, I'll only go jump on it. So hold on. Who wants to start?
Oh God. Where's
Okay.
Well, maybe Venus, you can back me up on this. The Game of Thrones merch has just stopped selling in my shop since then.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
Do you know what? I was walking through Penny's today and I saw a whole wall of Game of Thrones pajamas. And I'm going to tell you, this time last year, I would have been like, shut up and take my money. I actually just kind of looked away embarrassedly, like, oh my God, don't you look at me, Jon Snow. I can't see you. And I keep walking past it. Like, how dare you look at me from your oversized dressing gown? Yeah, oh God.
See, that sounds like dialogue from Series 8.
Yeah.
How dare you look at me from your oversized dressing gown? Bend the knee.
Bend the knee.
Hold on. But she's my queen.
Oh God, it's one of those things where it's like, if in black and white, if someone had told you this, and this is going to happen, that, and that are going to happen to this character, and if someone had told you in paper, here's what happens to this character, here's what happens to that character, I think you would have gone, oh, okay, that's actually, because when you think about the actual physical endings of the characters, you're like, oh, so and so ends up as this, or that happens to so and so. It's actually in paper okay, and you'd be like, oh, okay, let's see how they go about it. But they just went, I don't know what happened to them. It's like they went about it in such a bad way. They ruined what could have been, because it's one of those series where you're not going to satisfy anyone. It's more like finding a happy compromise, so everybody as a whole can be kind of comfortably disappointed together, rather than because no one, I was like, as long as Bronn gets his castle and Jaime and Brienne finally shift, I'm fine. Everything else will be a happy. But it was more like they felt like they're like, okay, so we've got like the budget and the time constraints for 90-minute episodes for every episode. That's exciting. It felt more like they were like, okay, we've got to fill 90 minutes with. But how do we do that? And I'm like, but you've got one of the biggest kind of franchises. Yes, you've run out of books to film, but you have, George Martin there to tell you what could happen and how to do it. I'm sure he's got substantial notes.
He said they could go to 10 or 12 series, but the two writers wanted to wrap it up. Why didn't they? Because they wanted to wrap it up to do a Star Wars film, which isn't happening because Series 8 was back.
I heard about that. That's really sad.
Why didn't they just give it to someone else?
Sad.
Why didn't they just pass it on to some intern at HBO or something like that to do it in their own time? Because even Series 7 was fairly slow paced.
It felt like one long episode rather than an actual series.
Yeah. But at least it was its own thing.
Episode.
The one thing I keep coming back to when it comes to season 8 is I kind of compare it to the Star Wars prequels, where if you say everything that happens from episode 1 all the way to episode 3, and you say go through every single beat of what happens, you go like, oh, these don't sound like bad ideas at all.
Yeah.
And then
you
see how it's executed and how poor the dialogue is at certain points.
I don't like sand.
Yeah.
Of course.
I'm haunted by the kiss you shouldn't have given me, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Oh.
For every day that you haven't been.
I wish I could just wish away my feelings, but I can't.
Yeah. When the way all those kind of things just kind of diminish the quality of what could have been. The ideas are okay. It's just that the execution's to even say that it was executed is very generous.
Oh, it wasn't. No, it's like, whoa. What have you done? It's like the first, there's episode 2, I remember distinctly, is literally just everybody sitting around the fire, characters who wouldn't normally be together, all just suddenly walking into a room together and sitting around a fire and having the most awkward conversation. I'm like, you're literally in the middle of the war. Why is everybody who shouldn't be together suddenly sitting in a room? It's almost as if there was no script and or something happened. And the actors were just told to wing it.
Yeah.
The whole
Go in and make it up.
Yeah.
The whole series felt like we were doing like prediction bingo cards for the Star Wars thing a week or two ago. It felt like they focus test everything that needed to happen before. It's like, all right, we want the Hound to fight his brother. Tick.
Yeah.
We want.
Oh, that is the only good thing about that series.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I'm actually happy with. The two of them going over the edge, like Moriarty
Yeah.
and Holmes. Sorry for the spoilers there for anybody who still hasn't seen it and getting it for Christmas, but that was actually the one redeeming factor of the series.
Well, I mean, you've kind of illustrated my point. Then it's like they plugged in all the things fans wanted, but they didn't do it in like an exciting way. It was just like a list of things that had to happen. Night King has to die. Arya has to go here. Sansa has to be a badass. Dragon Lady has to, whatever.
Oh my god, yeah. Oh, Arya in particular getting back and forth. Like in season 1, not to be a purist, but like the trip from Winterfell to King's Landing or vice versa is like, it takes nearly like the entire series for Ned and Robert Baratheon to get back from Winterfell to King's Landing. Like, it takes nearly the entire series. Arya's literally there on Shadowfax going like back and forth, like, and I'm just there like, I'm so triggered right now. I don't even know where to begin.
Varys had a very similar thing though in season 6, where like he traveled from I can't remember exactly where, but he basically went from King's Landing all the way to meet Tyrion when Tyrion was escaping, and then had managed to get over to Daenerys when she was still I can't remember the name of the kingdom that she was in, but like basically flitting everywhere, and it's just like
I get, suspension of disbelief in regards to the time constraints of a popular TV show that has to come out every week. I think everybody who was watching it was allowing for certain leeways and kind of timeline kind of mess ups, but then just that scene where she's just going back and forth, and I'm just there like, you shouldn't be here, go home. It just really drove me mad. Like,
didn't Varys spend like 7 seasons setting up Daenerys to take the throne and then just change his mind or something like that?
Yeah, literally his death was so wasted. He should have had such a oh god, again, spoiler alert, sorry. The finale of Varys' plotline should have been a lot more fitting of Varys as a character, because he could have been like, he could have just been like so badass, but I just feel like he was wasted.
Well, the worst thing about as a whole is that I don't think anyone wants to go back and watch series 1 again, knowing where it's heading.
Yeah,
like, do you know what I mean? Like,
I'm actually about to do that. Like,
really? Okay.
Next week, I'm gonna watch everything again. Yeah, and I want to kind of. I'm going there.
Oh dear. Like, I'd watch it again to see me in it. But that's about it. I'm like, oh, there I am. Look at me. Oh, there I am again. But other than that, I'm like, it's what I think is going to happen is in about 10 years they'll remake the whole thing.
Ew, no, don't say that. No, it's going to be a thing.
That's what they'll do. They'll remake it 10, 20 years, maximum 20 years.
It'll be a cinematic universe.
No, it won't be. It won't be a TV show. Though. I'd say they probably do a series of movies, or else it'll be like whatever. It'll be on like Amazon Prime or something. It won't be.
It'll be an infinite loop, because they're now making the Lord of the Rings TV show because of the success of Game of Thrones, and they're going to make another Game of Thrones, and because of that, they'll make another Lord of the Rings. It'll go forever and ever.
It's an infinite loop of shame, misery.
That Amazon Prime has 2 fantasy epic shows in pre-production. One of them is the Second Age Lord of the Rings series.
Mm-hmm.
The other one is the Wheel of Time.
Oh God! Good luck. Good luck.
For those of you who haven't read Wheel of Time is basically Game of Thrones on crack.
Yeah.
Like,
the books are massive tomes.
Oh, they take up 2 shelves in our shop.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. I tried to, I can't.
Yeah,
I just can't. It's too much.
The first book is amazing, and then from there it just becomes a bit of a slog for me.
But listen, right? What I will say is, so we're not here all night. 2019 in a word, right? Let's start with you, Brennan.
In a word?
Yeah. Or sentence.
Yeah.
Let's go sentence.
Yeah. It's like mostly enjoyable.
Okay.
We'll go
Keen?
Survived into fatherhood.
Oh, yeah. Well, you had a really good year. I was talking in geek terms, not in like.
In that case, just
Life terms.
Life.
Oh, I see. In that case, survived.
Fair.
Endgame was nice, but otherwise survived.
Fair. Venus.
Surprised? No. Disappointed? Yes.
I would say I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed.
Yeah.
That's the best way I can put it.
I will say though, I had a lot of fun at the cons this year. I can't take that away from 2018.
Yeah. I will have to say though, 2019 has been great because Keen, we had you on the show. The show's grown a lot for myself.
See, thank you for bringing that up. This was the year I joined, and it's been a blast working with you guys this year.
Oh, for sure. It's been great, because me and Brendan, we were a little bit burned out on podcasting and streaming and all that kind of stuff. And then when this came up, we're like, actually, no, we just hate wrestling. We really like podcasts. So that was it. And then we're like, oh, cool, let's go in and expand it out. So, personally, I've had a great time. What do you think, Brendan?
Yeah, I mean, I think like this year in terms of podcasting has been great. Like, well, actually, you know what? This year has been a great year for this as a show because, like, we did go from going never doing another wrestling show ever again, never doing podcasting again, to going like, yeah, you know what? Doing podcasts is fine. It's
we just don't go.
Let's graduate to good next year.
The amount of talking about wrestling has to go down, but like then on the other side, the thing that I find quite sad is like, and I've mentioned this on the show a few weeks ago as well, but basically like the podcast network that I got started with is gone and their library is finished, and that's really really sad. But because like I mean it's one of the sad things where like you do see guys who they spend like I know Larry had a great show with Creature Features podcast. I didn't particularly like the show that much, but because it just wasn't to my taste. But I would still recommend the show to anyone I could find who I knew would like it, because he's going through B movies and he's going through like monster movies and even stuff as like as simple as like the slashers and whatever. And like there are people who absolutely love them, but it's one of those things where that never found its audience, and after something like 10 years of him trying, he just kind of gave up, and it's a bit of a shame. But this is unfortunately the nature of the beast, where if you struggle to find an audience, this is what happens.
Exactly. And it's funny though. It's funny that you mentioned it because I deleted all the shows by mistake. But thankfully, we have this and we're doing it. All the shows are online, so at least with us.
This is also an advertisement for backing up your data.
Always back up your data, and particularly that one hard drive that is your main hard drive. Back that up, because you will delete that by mistake one time, like I did today. But no, looking forward into 2020. I'm glad that we're doing this. Thanks for anyone who's listened to the show, anyone who's joined us. We're going to try to do streaming more because I had the stream deck and it actually made today really easy. But no, it's great doing podcasts with you guys. Venus, Lisa, welcome on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome on the team, the Nerd to Know team.
Happy to be aboard.
Yeah. So we're looking forward to checking out your show. Looking forward to doing panels and stuff like that as well. So 2020 is going to be awesome.
Woo! Year.
All right. So one other thing, 2020 has Doom coming out. Like Dune. So I'm really looking forward to that. But we'll wrap it up there, guys. You what?
It also has Doom coming out. It's a banner year. Doom and Doom.
And Doom. Yeah, so either I'm going to be very happy or very sad, but we'll find out in due time.
This year is brought to you by the letter D.
Exactly. Is it the year? It's not the year of the dragon, is it? What year is it? Year of the rabbit? I don't know.
We'll find out next week.
We'll find out next week. All right, guys. Thank you so much for everyone who joined us on the stream. Anyone who's listened to us on Phoenix FM.